One's exciting, man. I gotta say, officially our first production from the studio, but same podcast we were doing from before. We're going with the name of Tales from the Dubzgeon. For now, we like it. It's kind of catchy, and very excited for our. We're gonna call this our first official relaunch episode. The man, the myth, the legend, Brown Sugar himself is joining us in the house. And Sugar, say hello to the people.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Good, dude. So happy to have you on. Like overdue. Uh,
Yeah, I'm excited. We've been pushing it off. We had just like had stuff coming up, but glad we finally nailed the time.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. And great member of the community. I'm sure a lot of you know him. Played with him. Played with us. I mean, rated. So we're gonna start off, dude. Just like we always do, and I kind of leave the floor open for you. Podcast game focused, and but as much as you'd like to like an introduction, say hello, tell people who don't know you just a little bit about you.
Yeah. So I'm Brown Sugar. I've been playing RuneScape on this account for like 5 years. I started during the pandemic, but I played RuneScape 2, like original '07 Scape. Went through summoning and evolution to combat. Fell off like a lot of people did. But I never really like lost touch with the game. I always continued, especially when old school came out. I mean, the content creation scene is incredible. So when old school came out, I started watching creators like Soup and Settled and Solo Mission and a lot of the pretty common ones you see. And when the pandemic hit, Settled was working on um, Swampletics, and I got bit by the bug. I mean, you're trapped at home all the time. Like, what do I do? I'm playing games anyways. Let me, throw RuneScape up on the other monitor. And I'd been putting off watching One Piece for years because it's a lot of content.
Right.
And so during the pandemic, that's what I do. I would, work during the day, and then I'd play RuneScape and have One Piece up on the other monitor. And that's how this account started. Now I'm like a daily scaper.
Nice, nice, and so cool. And I mean, we'll kind of talk about. I feel like everyone has a good opinion who's been through EOC and stuff like that. So I'm happy you're one of our guests that's actually been through that, and curious to hear about that more so as we jump in. But definitely have enjoyed getting to know you, and your account is amazing, and watching you hit Diaryscape and combat and all kinds of cool stuff. So for your account right now, this being your main, this is the one you said about 5 years, right?
Yeah, about 5 years.
And so are we pushing for max? Tell us what your goals are before we dive into the juicy stuff.
Yeah, the goal is to max. I was gonna push for it this year, but with sailing coming out, I kind of like lost motivation because it's like, okay, I'm gonna max, and then sailing's gonna come out, and I'm not gonna be maxed, or I'm gonna be close to maxing, and then sailing's gonna come out, and I have to max sailing.
Yeah,
So
right.
next year is when maxing comes. Right now, my goal is 2,200 total,
Okay.
and then Diary Cape, which I'm very close to.
Right.
And then push into some like higher level PVM. I want to get into Inferno. Like
Right.
I want that accomplishment. I want to do Coliseum.
Yeah.
Yama coming soon, hopefully.
Good, good. So, I mean, with getting to end game, and again, something we'll dive into more. But any plans for a second account, Iron, or are you're staying here until we hit that main, or excuse me, that max goal? Is it just this account for now?
No, I've been toying with the idea of a chunk man. I think we like kind of talked about it the other day when I was popping into chat.
Yeah, and real
When
quick,
I
not
get
to interrupt you, tell people because I didn't know what is a chunk ban.
So a chunk Iron Man is a restricted account. The way the world is like generated is in large chunk tiles, kind of similar like if you played Minecraft, there's chunks that load in. Um, so the idea of the account is you restrict yourself to one of those chunks until you complete some sort of goal in that chunk. So whether it's like if you're in an area with trees, like being able to cut the highest level tree or smith the highest tier thing
Sure.
in that area before you unlock an adjacent chunk, and then you progress through that way.
Neat.
Um,
Super cool, by the way. I've never heard of it or played. They seem, I mean, just the concept itself sounds challenging, fun, new.
yeah, and I like the idea of having long passive grinds while I'm maxing my account or like while I'm doing some bossing. Um,
Yeah.
but without having to think because Iron Man, a normal Iron Man seems really cool, but the world of Gielinor is so daunting. There's so much to do. There's so many directions you can go. I think by playing on a chunk man, you kind of focus it in. You're like, okay, I'm working on these three goals
Hmm.
for right now, and then I'll unlock the next area, and it'll give me a couple more goals.
Sure.
So it's kind of a more progression based thing rather than I need to do this quest and then go here and do this. And,
Right.
like every other Iron Man.
No, I like that, and I mean, I'm discovering. You know me, I'm old and talk about this on the stream all the time. I mean, there's definitely the nostalgia aspect of classic and the RuneScape I knew when I was a very young man, and so I think Iron pulls me in that direction. But I love everything I'm hearing about this and why you're looking at that path. I mean, definitely keep us posted. It's super cool. Plans for seeing us do the hardcore group Iron. Plans for I mean, I know it's time draining, but any plans for like a group, any group content, group Iron, solo hardcore? Any thoughts on that?
Um, Not at the moment. I think I'm just gonna make the when I do the chunk, make it a hardcore just for the challenge, but not be super attached to it.
Right.
Um, but as far as like group, it's just something just see fall off so often. I feel like it would take some convincing or investment on my own as well to like be able to play in that way.
Sure. Yeah, I mean and I'm sure you've seen in clan chat and stuff and in the stream. It's like, hey, I get it if people can't put time into groups. It's a lot. You have to invest time if you want to go anywhere with the account. So totally get it. Going back to your main. I mean, so how did you? I know you talked a little bit about the pandemic and the rejuvenation of, having that time to dedicate and come back and getting kind of hooked in the creator space. But what was the original draw to RuneScape? Like, how did you come to find out about the game, and what was that original hook that got you playing?
Well, I mean, when I was a kid, it was um, going to school. Like one of my friends in like elementary school played, and I think I went over to his house once and he was playing. He was like, "You should make an account. It's free." And so like I went on the family computer, like the big fucking Dell that
Yeah.
sounds like 6 airplanes are taking off.
Fucking Earthlink dial up.
Yeah. Mom turns on the microwave and then you disconnect.
Yeah. I trust me. I know. I remember. Yeah.
So started back then, played. I mean, I was a dumb kid. I didn't do anything. I think that account technically still exists on RuneScape 3.
Nice.
But it's, trapped in RuneScape 3, and I don't think there's any stat above like 60 on it.
So you got caught in the same bug though. I mean, just when we were kids, it was my memory is foggy that time, but from what I remember, I mean, that's how I started playing too. Is at school, all the guys was like RuneScape was like the thing. It was
huge.
the big, yeah. So you got caught up in that and got the bug, and then you talked to us a little bit about your experience and how your account's gotten to be at the point it is now. I mean, diving right into that, it sounds like you jumped in and out of the game a little bit after EOC changes. I mean, is that fair to say?
Yeah, I definitely kept. I fully fell off when EOC happened, and
Right.
then when they launched Old School. I mean, it was like a huge announcement when they launched Old School, so I kind of kept tabs on it. I didn't make an account originally, but yeah, kept tabs, and then I took a trip back to India to like visit my family there, and it was right around the time mobile came out. And so this account is technically a couple years older than 5 years.
Sure, yeah.
Because when mobile came out, I was like, okay, yeah, I'll like download it on my phone. I used to play when I was a kid.
Right.
So I just like played on mobile while I was in India, and I think I got like base 40s and free to play skills, and then I didn't touch it for a couple of years when
Nice.
I came back from that trip.
Right.
Um,
Nice. And so
and then yeah,
the
got the
EO
bug.
the EOC stuff though, I mean, talk to me about how you viewed it and why it was such a. I know what the general consensus is that I think a lot of community members have spoke about, but what was the big turnoff with EOC for you?
Thinking back, um, it just changed. I mean, it changed the whole game, right? It pushed it more towards your like typical action RPG, like World of Warcraft. I think people are drawn to RuneScape because of the simplicity of the systems in the game and how deep you can go with them, but not necessarily like how complicated it is to do things. Um, like I said, I was a dumb kid then. I was in like middle school probably when EOC happened.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so the whole game changed, and I was like, "What the fuck is this? What am
right.
I doing? How like what is an action skill? Why
Yeah,
do I have to click buttons to attack now? Like I can't just click on this cow and kill it, or click
yeah,
on this hill giant and bury its bones? Like
sure.
it was just a big gameplay shift, and it didn't really sit with like how I like to play the game, which was at the time it was a very different way to play. It was
Mm.
everyone was really inefficient. It was a very social game, and I feel like it kind of just nuked that aspect of it.
Right.
Just didn't feel right.
And I think I go back to this time and time again, and I think you and I have talked about this. What makes RuneScape so good, amongst many other things, is that it's when they steer away from the core of RuneScape and so many of the core aspects of the game, the combat, the map, the skilling, the interaction, the ecosystem. It's when they try and like reinvent the wheel but still call it RuneScape is always when it seems to throw players away, and then they always come back to the original ideas but then make them better. Like Yama content's been great, and Titan's content's been great, but it's RuneScapey content, right? Does that make sense? You know what I mean? It's RuneScapey. It's not them trying to like twist and morph it into like a new game and change old school. People like old school because it's old school. So I hear that consistently. Is you try and change it away from at least the core concepts of old school. Like yeah, add new stuff, adjust other stuff. But if you take away those core mainframes that make it the game that we all know and love, then it's not the game we love, right? And it's
Yeah,
not the same.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like if all of a sudden checkers pieces moved like chess, you're playing chess.
Yeah, right. That's such a good analogy. Exactly, dude. Like, come on. What are we doing? And I think I like that with. I haven't played it since the one day we played it on stream, but dude, when I booted up Dragon Wilds, like obviously it's like a super alpha beta, but I was really impressed. It's like, okay, they're not just trying to regurgitate old school. The movement and stuff, it's like very modern, so that's cool, right? Like
Yeah.
don't try and do that too old school and give us no option but play that. Dragon Wilds is great because I can still, if it ends up sucking or I don't like it or I just don't want to play it, like this is where I can still come back to. Don't take away my game. So I've been happy to see that with Dragon Wilds.
Oh,
And
right on, man.
speaking of speaking of Dragon Wilds, what are your thoughts on that and that game? And have talk to me a little bit about that.
I picked it up. I haven't spent some time with it. I tried to convince some of my friends to play with me, and our schedule just haven't lined up. But I like the idea of building on the IP, of building the world, of trying a new game, while not affecting your main,
Right, old school.
not affecting the main game, not
Yeah,
affecting old school.
not touching it. Yeah,
But still wanting to try new things. And I think a survival crafting game like Dragon Wilds fits great into the essence of RuneScape of starting from nothing, picking up your skills, getting better as you progress, and fighting big badass dragons. Like
yeah,
it definitely fits into the world very well. I like all the little nods that they have to people who do play old school, people who do play RuneScape 3,
right.
and how you kind of intuitively understand how the system works if you have played those games. But it is, at the end of the day, still a fresh experience for people who haven't, and it's a way to like introduce people to the world and the IP. And I think it's a cool thing.
I agree, and I mean, I would love to see exactly like you just described. I think, I mean, essentially probably saying the same thing as you here. I would love, you know, RuneScape 3 was a flop, and trying to force us into that, and all the changes we've discussed obviously was not a good way to go about it. So knowing that, and knowing that they're a business and old school is their cash cow, like, let's just be transparent about it. But it's also the thing that millions of people love to play. Why not build an ecosystem around that? Like, old school stays, but then you have RuneScape 4 Dragon Wilds, and RuneScape 5 is, you know, something else. And, like, you know, make it like a whole family of games with
Yeah,
this
I
as the
I
heartbeat,
think
you know?
if they never did EOC, never pushed RuneScape 3. If today they came out with a polished MMO in the same space as World of Warcraft, as Final Fantasy 14,
Mm.
with that action hotbar style combat, I think it could do well in the frame of RuneScape if they set it on a different continent or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
without alienating your fan base by forcing them into this change.
Couldn't
Uh,
agree more. I mean, you hit the nail on the head, and it goes back to the end of the day. If it's not broken, why are you trying to fix it? Right? If it's
yeah,
working and people like it, like, who knows? I think there's motivations that cause that to happen, and obviously, I guess to a corporate level and a massive level, there's greed and all kinds of stuff. But yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
it's good, cool to hear that you bought it. I've played couple hours, and dude, I need to play some more. I gotta tell you, I could not recommend that game enough. Like, it was, and I didn't even make it through all the tutorials. Like, it was that much fun. So good to hear you're playing that. Love that. um I want to ask you, like I ask every guest. You're very passionate about the community. I know you stream sometimes and have expressed interest in, you know, trying to possibly do that more, and very exciting there. What are your thoughts on the current landscape of the game? Like, you are, I would describe you as a main maxer, just knowing you
Mhm.
from 4 to 5 months. Like, if someone asked me about your account, I'd be like, oh yeah, he's a main maxer, like all around great player, PVM, skilling, you know, questing, hard stuff, pet, C log, like just great all around main maxer. How do you feel the ecosystem is around the accounts with PvP versus PVM versus raids, and how they all blend together? What are your thoughts on the ecosystem of main game and how it all is integrated?
I think overall the game is in a like second golden era. I think we've been getting like great update after great update. Yeah, we have our hiccups here and there, like with how the Yama contracts were bugged and how people don't really like that system. But overall, great update, incredible content. Even with controversies around TOA and how it was, the invocation system being weird and how the loot rolls, it's still a great raid. It's a good entry level raid to get people into higher level content. I think we've been getting really good, really consistently good updates and great feedback from our devs, which I don't think people appreciate enough. Like, so many games, if you play them, the devs do a thing and they're like, fuck you.
Yeah, you don't care. You never.
They
They
don't care.
Call of Duty's a great example. They've just said "fuck you" to their community for 7, 8 years now. Yeah, sorry, not to interrupt.
Yeah.
Continue on,
No, no,
please.
you're fine. With specifics to like PVMers versus skillers versus PvP,
Hmm,
PvP is pretty dead. I think it has been for a while.
hmm.
Um,
Agreed.
I feel like the overall ecosystem, an economy of RuneScape doesn't lend itself well to having an area like the wilderness. There's not really a lot of incentive to be there. So a little more about me. I've played MMOs like my whole life. I went from Guild Wars to Guild Wars 2 to played a little bit of World of Warcraft. I played Final Fantasy 14. I played a lot of Albion, if
Okay.
anybody's familiar with Albion. Um, Albion is a full loot PvP game.
Oh
There
wow.
are areas where you can flag up for PvP, and there are some areas that if you go there, you can be killed by another player. The draw of those areas are high tier resources, high tier drops that you cannot get anywhere else in the game, are in those full loot PvP areas.
Oh,
So
okay.
it
Interesting.
creates this system of,
Yeah.
you know, working together to lock down areas and get those high tier resources so you can use them and sell them, or being capable of fighting back or learning to escape. There's different gear sets in that game, some that are suited for PvP, some that are suited for escaping in PvP.
Hmm.
So I think to balance out the wilderness, there needs to be some sort of hybrid gear that's, defensive, has okay stats, is relatively cheap, that people can feel comfortable taking into the wilderness so they feel like they can fight back. Or there needs to be some different escape mechanics. Like, yes, you can take freezes with you and you land your freeze, but if you're out there in, you know, black dragon hide with a shovel in your inventory, like, you're not going to land a freeze
Right.
on
Right.
any PvPer.
Sure.
I think the wilderness as a whole doesn't really fit anymore. I understand why people like it. PvP is very fun. I've done like a little bit of it. I'm not really good, but I understand the draw.
So with that, I mean, I agree with so much of what you said, and I talked about this on a few other episodes. I mean, yes, I get it. People lit me up in the comments and stuff like there is a place where you can go and just do dedicated PvP. But yeah, you're on limited kits and it's fucking all got these rules and regulations. Like, why not introduce like the old school duel arenas? Like, just fucking let people risk, gamble, like dual arena, dual fights, risk fights. Like, why? I feel like that would solve so much of the PvP stuff, don't you?
Yes, I understand why they got rid of the dual arena. It was a big hub for real world trading.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah,
See,
it
I
was
don't.
because
You got to educate an old guy like me on things like
so
this. I
a
don't
lot
know.
of the incentive of people doing these huge stakes at the dual arena
Uh huh.
was essentially they're playing blackjack. They're trying to, you know, put up 100 mil or a bill and win a bill, and then they can sell that bill for however much that goes on the secondary market. I think the
Oh
roller
my
costs are going
god!
this right
I
now.
just every time I hear about this stuff, and especially after getting our shadow yoinked and stuff, it's like I
Mhm.
just I'm shocked at that it's a video game. I didn't know people were out like hustling to pay electric
Yeah.
bills and stuff on RuneScape. It's crazy.
Uh,
It's
yeah,
just
and I know it
insane.
was a big part of that.
So okay, well, I mean that makes more sense. So do you think? I mean, I love what you said about the Wildy because you gave a good example, and I think just as they've focused heavily on main game, which they should, PVM raids, that kind of an iron content as I'm playing it now is just so amazing, let me tell you. I understand why the focus has gone there, and I think it's led to the golden era that you say we're in, which I also 100% agree with. Do you think there's changes that can be made to how far with Varlamore, The Last Dawn coming out, all that new content, Sailing coming out? Do you think there's an update that can fix the Wildy, or do you think it's dead for a while?
I think it could be interesting and kind of shake things up if they, maybe with sailing, and they kind of talked about it a little bit, introducing a, second wilderness, right? A new area of the game, new resources, new bosses, that is also PvP.
Wait, so oh my goodness, I guess I never thought about that really in particular. So with sailing is giving us the ability for these. I mean, I love the idea of like you can go to these what I saw in the beta and from what I heard in the interviews, you can as you're sailing, it's more so kind of how Gillinor map is now, where you don't have to stay on the path. I thought sailing was going to be like you have to stay in this channel, right? But
Hmm.
they're saying you're going to be able to like just stop off at a place you see and like cut trees and mine rocks and new gems and stuff like that, and then pop back on your boat and hop off. So this essentially what you're saying is this would be one of those destinations, but it would also be PvP as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to,
A fix.
not a long term fix, but kind of revitalize, get people interested in going there, interested in risking stuff.
Do you think
Like
they're?
learning PvP.
Do you think they're? I guess I've been thinking about this lately. I mean, do you think that maybe reevaluating the way that solo and multi patches are set up could make a change? Because I think some of that's probably a little broken. Like I understand the concept of there being risk with wilderness bosses, but I think just the whole idea of like
Mhm.
multi dragging tellies, and then you have these abysmal drop rates at these wildy bosses, and even people as far as like big name streamers camping them. It's just it just feels like that whole ecosystem is broken. But I feel like a lot of it stems from the single solo and multi delineations in the wildy. I mean, what are your thoughts on those?
Yeah, the as far as singles and multis, I think as a new player coming to the game, or even a mid-level player who hasn't really messed with the wildy, maybe doesn't play with plugins,
Hmm.
um, which technically is your like average RuneScape player. A lot of people don't really get to raids. A lot of people don't get to 80s and 90s in stats, right? They just kind of
Sure.
hang out in the mid game.
Yep. For sure.
Um,
For sure.
that delineation isn't very clearly defined. Um, Maybe some sort of like secondary wilderness ditch to hop over to say like I'm going into multi combat
Yeah,
now.
exactly. Yep.
Um, could be a way to make that more readable.
Well, and I think that I think the PvP aspect, like, I love to see Chef and Laser on their grinds because they really show what good PvP players are about. And that's, they want to, they truly have a love for that dual aspect and they want to get good at it. They're not out there just trying to, you know, smite people's accounts for large sums and like laugh at them and leave. Like they genuinely love that aspect of the game. And so for me, it's like take away the PVM camping, take away the multi trap pulls, and like that. Even just that would make it so much more fun for me because it's like if I'm going out there and I'm in solos, like I know I'm in solos. All right, let's go. Like I'm going out there. I know the risk. I can fight, but give me at least a mostly clear path to PVM if you're gonna make a 1 in 5K drop rate on a pet. You know what I like?
Yeah.
Just little things they could adjust, and you know it's the same thing we'll talk about more because you and I both are heavy PVM and raid and main game players right now.
Mhm.
You know, there's so many little adjustments that I think it's a great game. I love the game, and I'm not saying I have all these fixes, but little things like everyone loves the way Yama loot works, Huey loot works. Everyone loves it, being able to get a pet and do all these different things. And then you go somewhere like God Wars, and it's like, man, guys, you could make some little tweaks, and people would be flooded at God Wars again. So I think the Wildy's got to be a priority because it. I agree with you. I think PvP is dying content. Someone in the
Yeah.
chat said this, and I do want your thoughts on this because I kind of skipped over this. What are your talk to me about sailing? What do you think? And just I mean, give me the full 411 on your thoughts on sailing.
Yeah, I am cautiously optimistic with it. With most of the larger updates, I don't think they're going to do anything to break the game. They're holding our hands the whole way through this. We're saying this is what we're proposing. We're going to vote on this. This is what we're proposing. We're going to vote on this. And at this point, I'm pretty sure sailing can still not pass, if I'm remembering correctly.
I believe technically I think you're correct, but I don't know. I'd have to look, but I believe you're correct. It could still
Yeah.
quote technically not pass.
But everything I've seen so far feels old school, looks old school, and builds upon the systems that we already have in the game. I think a lot of the ways they're proposing some changes to skilling will be interesting because that's a part of the game that has been ignored a lot is
Oh
skilling.
my gosh, massively.
Yeah, I mean, like what is fire making?
Oh my gosh, dude. And flat. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yep.
I
So
think some
you're so
new
are you
training
over
methods.
you're overall excited for sailing?
Yeah, overall, I'm excited. I'm excited to have that sense of discovery again. I think
Yeah.
that'll be the most fun part of it is just getting to see new stuff.
How cool, man.
And
I love. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
no, it just feels um like it'll just open up a lot more options for new content down the line and different ways to do what we're currently doing, which is fun. The variety of training is what I find enjoyable about RuneScape. If I get bored doing one thing, I can go do 100 of
Thank you. Finally, someone who I'm sure you've heard me preach about this in the stream all the time. I'm like, man, just start the day with 30 minutes of agility. Knock out a birdhouse run. Knock out a farm
yeah.
run. I promise you. Now, don't take that advice from me as I sit here 15 hours a day mining on 3 accounts. Like I'm just a
Yeah, we're wasting XP right now, man. What the fuck?
I'm a psychopath. So listen to what I say, not what I do. Like I'm gonna be at account 5 and 6 here soon. Like we're not. It's bad. I have a problem. So don't do what I do. But I preach that same philosophy all the time. The game is amazing, but it's a game that the game is not meant for people who want to just jump on and play a quick shooter and be done. Like it's never been designed for that, and it wouldn't be what it is now. So yes, it can get monotonous, but only if you choose to make it monotonous. Like if I get on and I don't know what I'm going to do, I go do 30 minutes of Prif agility. And then after that, I do a birdhouse run. And then I might even, I'll do a tree run. And then in between a tree and a farm run, I'll go do something different just so that I'm not like farming too much. And it makes the game, all of a sudden you look up and you've got a couple hours done. You got skilling done. You're getting towards diaries. Like I totally agree. I mean, I love that. With the, I love what you said about sailing feeling, looking, and designed like old school, but giving us the explorer pathway or journey or whatever you'd like to phrase it as, because that aspect of the game when I was young was like going down that journey and becoming the master in different realms and getting to see the new stuff and unlock the areas. For me, I remember the games when I was a kid where it was like you could see all this stuff, but you could only interact with the path, right? It was just so simple graphics and very, very old school computers. Like you always like, oh, why can't I swim in the river or jump, right? Yeah. And now I just think they hit the nail on the head when I saw that you could just like hop off your boat, or if your boat gets destroyed, you wash up on an island, like just somewhere. Like it's sick, dude. It's like they're keeping open world, but going down that route. Okay, so you like sailing, you're excited for it. I love your description of how you think it's going to be. What about the new Varlamore content? Have you read about that? And if so, thoughts?
I have been keeping tabs on it like I do with a lot of things. Maybe a little. I've been a little bit out of the loop in Varlamore. I've kind of ignored it a good amount.
Fair,
I don't have any Huey KC. I've got like a little bit of Moons KC.
Whoa. What did you say? Look who's here with us, bro. Be careful. Don't
go kill Jad.
I love it. So sorry, not a time. So you haven't played around Varlamore, Tom, huh?
Not a whole lot.
Okay.
Especially because I feel like Varlamore is a very mid-game area.
It is. It's designed for mid-game. Yeah,
which is incredible. It's great. I love that they're kind of shrinking that gap in progression.
Mm-hmm.
There's just not a lot of great stuff for me to do there at the point in my account.
With your account.
Once I make a new account or something like that, I'll be all over Varlamore.
Sure.
So for now, I haven't really gone there.
So do you think this content is going to be released? From what I understand, it's supposed to be endgame Varlamore content. So are you excited if it does follow that path?
Yeah, I definitely am. I like the idea of a delve boss.
Yeah, sick, right?
Something that you can just keep running after.
Yes, so cool.
And then dip out where you can. I'm intrigued to see where it goes. I know a lot of people don't like the Avernic treads, which I also don't know how I feel about certain aspects of it, but I do like not having boot swaps
Yeah.
because Pegasians are useless. Like,
They're
let's be real.
0.02% accuracy increase, and they're what do they
Yeah,
cost? 32 mil? Like, give me a break.
yeah. They just sit in my bank. Yeah, Laser. I see you in chat. Quiver is not mid game. I'm just bad at the game and haven't done that yet.
No, but I understand what you're saying. Like, I mean, sitting there doing Blessed Bone shards, like, yeah, it's great in AFK and just a mindless way for me to progress to 99. And I am saving tens of millions off the cost, but like moons being the first real members thing I green logged, I fell in love with moons because it was perfect mid game. It didn't cost anything. I got all this combat XP. It was a great baby for raids. But then after moons was done, it was like, okay, yeah, there's Colo, but outside of Colo, like, there's no outside of Colo and Hunter rumors, there's no real end gamey stuff you can do. Huey's really fun. I really enjoy it. People seem to either love or hate it. I think it's a fantastic boss. I'm huge proponent of that. I think just the whole Nagua family, the Nagua concept, and different lineages that they have, and sulfurs and frost, and I really love the whole storyline behind Varlamore, but it needs to have mid to end game. There's this spot that I think we all have a weird time defining, which is like what's mid game and what's end game. But it really goes back to like how well can you train effectively for where you're at and still make money doing it, or still make reasonable XP while you're doing it. And Varlamore is lacking that for things past 60, 70, 80 combat, and for skilling too. So I totally, yeah, go ahead.
And I think that's fine though. Like, one thing I do love about Varlamore, Hunter rumors are great. Makes
amazing
Hunter
so
much easier.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah.
But I also think it's okay to be okay with Varlamore lacking that, because I mean, I don't know if you remember when Karen came out. That was a terrible update. People hated Karen. There was nothing to do there, and now you do everything there. You've got Slayer, you've got raids, you've got your Blood Altar rune crafting.
It's huge, yeah.
It's a very good area of the game. There's lots of content to do. Yeah. And with everything in an MMO, it's a living, breathing game. Stuff is going to change over time. This is the final Varlamore update, but it's not. They're going to keep adding stuff to Varlamore. They're going to keep adding stuff in that area of the game. With sailing coming out, they might add some more islands around, some different skilling methods, new ports.
Yep.
It will get better. They will add more content. There'll be a new end game boss. There'll be a Slayer dungeon. There'll be something more to do there, and it's just going to take time.
I totally agree, and I guess that's a perfect segue into my next question too. Is I mean, we're both excited for the prospect of a new Grandmaster quest. Obviously, good chunks of XP, and Varlamore content bossing has just been fantastic so far. I mean, take it from me. So end game stuff, the Delve boss, being able to stay in there and push down the waves, better loot as you progress. Like, all that is fantastic. Perfect segue into my next question for you. What do you think about the current world of Gielinor? So when I say what do you think about the current world, to be a little more specific, the map set up right now, we've had a lot of it, and I wasn't here for this, but we've had a lot of additions to the world over the last couple of years, whether that be Varlamore and all this new content we're seeing and Grandmaster Quest in the last couple of years. I like the idea of some new Wildy, and maybe some changes to the proposed one. Outside of that, would you, as a long-term player and a main gamer, like to see a whole new area added soon? Or what are your thoughts on that? Map expansion, essentially.
Give us Menaphos.
Yeah.
I want to see Menaphos. It's been fucking 20 years.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, we are going to be getting that with sailing.
Potentially. Yeah, good point.
But I like them adding new continents. I mean, Varlamore huge expansion over the past like year,
Right.
right? That's already so much content. I'd like to see them before, post sailing, they give us all the islands before they go into their next big expansion, adding a new continent, kind of fill in or go back on some of the areas that need a little love.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Yep.
I think that would be good because I feel like there's so many areas of the game that you kind of skip over, like the like northern desert. I mean, I know you kind of have Calphite Queen there. You have a quest there, um,
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. But like a little more
There's nothing.
content
Yeah,
in
there's
that
nothing there,
area.
dude. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, some
Absolutely.
stuff in like Mauritania would be cool. Um, a little more stuff having to do with like the elf lands would
Yeah.
be fun.
Absolutely.
Um,
Love that.
but I think just kind of going back and touching up some of the older areas of the game would be
Well,
fun.
it needs it. With how much of a revitalization there has been to the game, and then Yama being such a smashing success. Fun boss. Don't I mean it's great. They're just killing it in every aspect. That content though, like you've run God Wars, like it's not fun with more than two or three people, and even then we're switching off KC, and it's just this. I get why it made sense back in the day, right? But there's so much of the old game that I feel like could be minor tweaks and updates, and totally agree with you there. Need to fill in some patches on some
Yeah.
areas because uh, for my next question, where do you what do you see about the future of the game, and where would you like to see it go overall as a community, as a landscape, as a just as a whole? You know, like a 5 year goal. What would be your ideal vision of where RuneScape would end up?
I would like to see some incentive for new players. I feel like RuneScape has a lot of diehard fans. People have multiple accounts, lots of end game content, lots of mid game content. I feel like the beginning of the game is not very fleshed out for a new player.
Yeah.
I personally, I have a lot of friends who don't play RuneScape. They'll see me playing, and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah.
Or they're like, why are you clicking? You're just going and clicking on monsters, and then going and clicking on a tree." And I'm like, "No, but it's different."
Yeah, absolutely.
uh,
Right, I promise.
um, I feel like there should be some way to bridge people into the game, ease people into the game. I know they kind of started with I don't know. Yeah, you just made a new account. They have adventure paths, right? When you first start,
Yep.
that guide you to like level 20 and a couple of quests. Um, but I think new players need something like that, need a system like that that's more fleshed out. That's like, okay, go get your overheads, go to Scurious, um, learn this boss, and even with PvP as well. Um, there's a very high barrier to entry for PvP. I feel like I mean, yes, there's LMS, but LMS just gives you gear and throws you in arena. It doesn't tell you how PvP works.
Yeah, so maybe I mean what I'm gathering from what you're saying is like maybe some more realistic useful training methods for new people cuz Tutorial Island hasn't changed in 20 years.
Yeah, and
It's
I don't think
literally
you
the
change
same.
Tutorial Island. Tutorial Island is
It's a
nostalgia. You
must.
change that,
It's a must.
and
Yeah.
people are gonna riot.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean
um,
it's a must. I agree with you, but I never thought of what you just said. You don't ever learn about I guess, man, and especially if you're not watching a content creator and asking and stuff like that, you don't
yeah,
learn about like switching prayers and gear swaps and learning like protecting. You want to wear carols at Vorkath, even, you know what I mean, to protect from certain
yeah.
damage. Like that's a really good point, Sugar.
There should be some sort of guided experience for new players
Yeah.
to understand the main systems of the game.
Well, because adventure paths just don't seem like they just seem like more nerd tasks. And like I love nerd tasks. I'm a sea logger. Like I'm me, bro. I go after pets and fucking rare, stats, and like I am the nerd that likes the lists. So I'm not against that, but I don't think adventure paths hit the nail even close to. I feel like the hammer completely missed the nail. They're not serving the purpose they were designed to.
Yeah, I think they're the right idea, but they
Right.
could be expanded on a bit. There's not really a members version of adventure paths. They're very designed around free to play, which is fine, but you need more content in free to play. You need something that gets people interested in, oh, like, what's the rest of the game like? You know,
Right. Yeah.
I feel like free to play has been neglected for a long time.
It has.
They got Scurrius, but
Scurrius, Bryophyta, Obor, and I guess the upcoming changes are insane because, and I'm sure this will make the price go way down, which the chat all immediately agreed with. But like, I got my first couple bonds from Bryophyta. It took me 30 hours to farm keys, and then I got Spoon the staff, and it was 12 mil at the time. But those keys are awful to get, and now in the upcoming changes, they're removing the key requirement, so it'll be just like Scurrius in the free to play aspect. But yeah, man, I get at the end of the day their business. Free to play is insanely. There's such a huge gap between free to play and members that I don't, and I think for them, I don't think they're selling the game well enough in free to play with, because you're missing so much. You go to members and you're just like, holy shit, I don't even know where to start. So maybe having like more in free, as we add more to members, like give free to play a little nugget to, because in turn you'll just make the player base better. You'll just encourage more people to become members.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like we can give more attention to the free to play.
Yeah, oh my god, like, dude, seriously, and like Towerley,
long enough.
You, dude, seriously, bro, it's I love that. Totally agree. Excuse me. I also wanted to ask you. I mean, I know you stream from time to time, and you talked about the idea, or not the idea, the draw of watching some content creators during the pandemic when you were coming back. With your streaming occasionally, I mean, do you have any plans to like kind of ramp that up, or is that kind of just an every now and then thing that you want to do for fun? Or talk to us a little bit about that.
For right now, it's an every now and then. I'm trying to figure out a consistent time for me to do that. I mean, with work and trying to balance a relationship and a social life, it's hard to kind of block out like, okay, every Monday I'm going to stream.
It is. It's very difficult. Yes.
Like girlfriend's friend has a party I got to go to. Right. Like, okay, shit, I can't stream. Push it back a day.
Right.
Oh, like I worked overtime this day. Shoot, can't stream today.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
So I think it's just going to take me really sitting down and saying like, on Wednesdays I stream from this time to this time, like no matter what.
Right.
And I feel like I haven't gotten to that level yet. It's just kind of a every once in a while I'll hop on, surprise, whatever friends are watching.
Yeah, right. It's streaming's interesting. I mean, I definitely never went into it with like I'm trying to do this. You know what I mean? It was we were playing RuneScape and it was fun. And every now and then I had streamed Call of Duty and I popped the stream on and I was like, oh my gosh, there's people in here. And boom, the community was born and is what it is today, obviously. But yeah, I get it, man. It's like, I don't know. I think there's two different types of people when it comes to content creation. There's the realistic ones who have either done it or seen people do it. And also the people who want to do it and put in what's required. And then there's the other camp that think that every streamer is just like hopping on for a couple hours, making all this money and then jumping off, and like that's the life they want. And it's just not, it just doesn't work like that. Like, yeah,
it's a full-time job, like, right, if you want to get into that sort of thing. I just kind of keep it a hobby
and you build your community and you be part of communities. Like, we're part of communities, you're part of our communities, so obviously we would help you grow and accelerate. But it's tough, bro. You've been around for 5-6 months. It's 5-6 months ago it was 4 or 5 of us, right? And then all this, but that was 400 hours of streaming, 460 hours of streaming last month. Like, if you want to really do it, you either one, get lucky, or two, you just slowly do it over time. And I love to see you doing it, because getting to know you, like, great guy, funny, awesome dude, great scaper, funny personality. Like, you definitely should be in the content creation space. So we definitely hope to see more and more and more and more of that. I want to talk to you about a couple other things too, bro. So when it when it comes to the upcoming changes to TOA, please tell me everything that you think. I mean, these are huge. The content changes coming to TOA. I mean, I know some people are like, well, it's just purple's going down, and some people are saying no more red X and butterfly, and then it was 60% of the time it's effective. Oh, and then so I read through it. It's a lot. I think we'll get more finite details, but like, you and I have run hundreds of TOA together. You're almost at 100. What are your thoughts? This is huge.
I love it. I have like pretty much no notes on those changes. I think getting rid of the random prayer switching on Akka is a little too much, but also like whatever. It's fine. I think butterfly is still going to be useful. I like the idea of having 2 shadow phases on Akka. And like the blog says, Akka should not be the hardest part of the raid, and right now it really is.
I would say, but yeah, for most people. But I would also argue that Bob is a broken room. The way that the baboon systems are set up, the red, it's you're in a 300 with 3 people and one person dies and you're cooked in the rooms. They're both awful. They're not good rooms right now.
Akka is difficult. Baba is bullshit.
Awful. Yeah, awful, bro. Yeah. Awful room. Yeah. Everyone hates it.
I'm so excited. They're going to, getting rid of 2 waves on the monkey room so the puzzle goes by faster.
Right.
Making it so you always hit with range on cursed and shamans.
Thank you.
Is going to be great.
Amazing.
You don't noodle on them.
Right.
Making it so Baba just doesn't damage you through prayer. Cool. Fine. I'm very happy to camp melee and just stand next to him.
Well, that's the thing, bro. But the chip damage didn't make sense. Like, the way it was structured, it was like, okay, so you go to a rock, and then if you're taking shots from 4 baboons, but he's also spawning a red X under you, and then he's also throwing a boulder, but you're taking 40s from the baboons, because if you take off pray from melee to go to pray from range, he's gonna hit you for a 60. Like, it was not a balanced room at all.
Yeah, and I think red X is still gonna be good, just because you avoid the rock throw.
Sure,
but it's gonna make getting rid of the chip damage is gonna make it so much easier.
It's not gonna make it a headache.
Just like so much more. Yeah, it's gonna be less bullshit. You just get like smacked to 30 for no reason. I'm praying the right thing.
So I agree with those changes, and I love to see in the final phase of Akka that the white magic blobs are going to be...
less cum.
Less, yes. That's so... Because there's a couple times in that room where it's just RNG, and I think people finally complained enough. Like, you saw me carry that room with 1,200 HP and survive.
Yeah.
And then you've also seen me go in there with 6 of us on 500 HP and die, and it's happened to you too, bro. Why am I getting stacked out for 80 kerosene and then getting stacked out for 80? Like, that's not a skill issue, right? Like, fix that.
There is skill within the orb phase, but there's just so much shit on the screen.
It's insane. It's too much.
Like, it's just really difficult to read. Like, I have like true tile for the orbs, and I can like kind of dodge them, but it's still just like so much shit. They're coming from every direction.
It's so much, yeah.
There's less orbs will be good.
Yeah. Well, and
it'll make it less frustrating.
So with all that being said, one other change that I really like to see that I know used to really kill me and still will get me close to death if not dying sometimes is the skulls that would... So during skull phase in P2, a skull would get, and still does, it'll get thrown out and it'll spawn under the obelisk or under the warden. So you have to run under the warden and then hope he doesn't chance melee you for a 70 to avoid the skull damage, and then run out, and if penetration's on, you're just cooked. So I love that change, right?
That's a great change as well, because that again just feels like bullshit. Like,
it is. It's not a skill issue. It's just a bad code issue. Like, fix that. Like,
it's a good change.
Yeah. So
the one change that I am kind of sad about is
Yes.
getting rid of the knockback on Zabak's waves, just because it's funny every time somebody gets hit by the wave.
Oh, it's tragic for me that that's going away. That's my favorite. I
Yeah,
love that.
I love.
And you hear the
And then they're swimming.
ah, dude. So what are they doing in place of that? I don't understand. Does the wave just hit you for damage and then you're on the other side?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
so.
stop, bro. They're making TOA just super I mean, I love
No,
that too,
I think
but
they should keep the knockback.
we
I mean, the knockback's so much fun.
so bro, if they're making all these changes, what are we going to be like running like 580s all the time now?
Who knows? Maybe
I mean,
we could
because
run some pretty high invos, but they're dropping the purple rate.
I know that's what I'm saying. Or we're gonna probably have to run like 5+ hundreds all the time to maintain purple rates. I would think. Because what are they
Yeah.
doing about the invo system? Did they say is
I
anything
don't think they've
changing
said
there?
anything yet. Who knows? Maybe they'll add some new invocations. Maybe Zabak Waves knocking back will be an
An
invocation.
invo. Ooh.
Maybe randomly changing prayer at Akka will be another invocation. Maybe chip damage on Baba will be an invocation.
Did they?
Or more monkey rooms.
I
I don't think
just
they said that, but it's a way they could still let people like push up the difficulty,
right.
and kind of keep purple rates like lower.
I don't remember it if I don't remember if this was in the blog or not. But did they say in the blog um, how much they're nerfing purple rates by?
I don't think so. I can pull the blog.
Because I swore I mean for me, look, the way some of the roll rates are calculated in the game make a ton of sense, and it's fun when they add some like invisible shit and stuff like that. Like cool, whatever. But I don't know, bro. I don't feel like purple roll rates are high right now at TOA. Like hearing that they're going to be reduced just scares me because it's and also for me it's like aren't you going to scare away newer players because lower invos you just never get a purple now? I don't know. That part I'm scared about.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to balance. I think the invocation system lends itself to that because the idea of you're pushing 500s, you're doing
Sure.
high invo raids, you have a 30% chance at a purple.
You should.
You should, but also that's not great for the economy when it comes to the
Fair.
lower tier purples like the Fang, the Light Bearer,
Fair. That's fair.
Shield.
Okay,
I
that's
think
fair.
a way that they can maybe balance that out is I don't know, maybe lower the purple rate for low tier items at a higher invocation, but like keep shadow the same.
Yeah, that could work.
And so like when you're doing those mid tier TOAs, you have a higher chance at a like Fang or something like that.
No change to P3 or
Or
P
like you're same.
no change to P3 or P4 imposed, right?
No, yeah, not really any changes to Wardens besides the skulls. I think.
And which is great because let's be honest, Wardens is the best fight in the game for me.
Wardens is my favorite fight in the game.
Yep.
It feels good when you get it right, and it's awesome.
It's so much fun, and then starting to learn one line, like even simple things like having a straight facing camera and just like learning the mechanics of one line, and the fight's fun. It's interactive. I mean, it's great. Well, dude, I mean, I've had such a good time talking to you. Thank you for sharing everything about the account. Before we wrap up here, I mean, anything else you want to say about the game, community, anything else? You good? We missing anything?
No, I'm good. I appreciate you having me on. Thanks for having this community, making me a part of it. It was just like one board night. I was looking at streamers, saw you had open raids and said, fuck it, let me hop in and hang out with this guy. It's been great ever since. I feel like that's one thing that I had lacked a lot in this game before was some sort of community, some friends. Because like I said, none of my IRL friends really play RuneScape. So getting into group content is very daunting as a solo player. Or like learning to solo Toa is very frustrating. But when you find that community, you find those people that you're able to spend time with and
Yeah.
do the same things. It's really nice. So thank you for having this community, man.
Dude, thank you so much. I mean, we've obviously this right off the bat that means the absolute world to me, because this place and you guys are the reason I'm here, and why it's such a wonderful place is because of you guys. But yeah, I want the same for all of us. I want us to be able to get on, have fun, joke around with the boys, but also make gains and get better. And this game does not. Yes, you can have solo aspects, but this game is so much better when we have friends, homies, jokes, and also just the sense of community and content and the mix. So thank you. That means the world, and we're so happy you're a part of it. So we'll put all your tags in the I'll put all your tags in the YouTube video when I get it up. And stay tuned. I think Shoogah and I are going to talk about it as we start putting out stuff for the studio. But just if you guys are new to the community, he's a great member. Make sure you follow him on Twitch. Thank you so much for being on again, buddy. We're going to take a quick break just for a quick, easy video editing purposes, but stay tuned. Stream again soon.